Hello Year 3, welcome to our first English lesson of the week. Today we're going to be reading a bit more of Fortunately the Milk, and then we'll be doing some practice tasks. This week's a little bit different. We're going to be focusing more on learning some skills or revisiting some skills rather than doing tasks specifically related to our text. Okay, so let's get started with our story. I am even further from my children and our breakfast, I said. You have your milk, he said. Where there is milk, there is hope. Ah, over there. That looks like a perfect landing platform for time-travelling scientists in floaty ball person carriers. We landed on the platform and got out. The platform stuck up out of the jungle and had flaming torches on each side. There were people standing on it with very black hair and sharp stone knives. Is this a balloon landing platform? I asked the people. It is not, said a fat man. It is our temple. We had a very bad harvest last year, and we had just asked the gods to send us a sacrifice to make sure that this year's harvest is better. When you floated down in that thing with your monster. Thank you, by the way, said the little thin man. I was going to be a sacrifice if no one else turned up. Much obliged. So now we will sacrifice you and your monster. But my children are waiting for their breakfast, I said. Look! I held up the milk. Why did they all just fall to their knees? Asked Professor Steg. Is this usual hairless mammal behaviour? Perhaps I should hold up some hard, hairy white crunches and see what happens. Coconuts, I told him. They are called coconuts. What is it that you are holding? The fat man asked. Milk, I said. Milk? They exclaimed, and they prostrated themselves on the ground. We have a prophecy, said the fat man, that when a man and a spiny-backed monster descend from the skies in a round floaty thing. A floaty ball person carrier, said the little thin man. Yes, one of those. We were told that when that happened, if the man held up milk, then we were not to sacrifice them, but we were meant to take them to the volcano and give them as a present the green jewel that is the eye of Splod. Splod? He's the god of people with short, funny names. It is, I said. A remarkably specific sort of prophecy. When did you receive it? Last Wednesday, said the fat man proudly. The priest of Splod was woken in the night by a voice whispering from the heavens, and when he went to look and see who it was, there was nobody there. Also, he was sleeping on the top of the temple, and nobody else could have been up there with him, so it must have been either Splod himself talking or one of his angelic messengers. We walked together down a jungle path. Professor Steg held the rope in his mouth that led up to the balloon, and he dragged the balloon along. After half an hour, we reached the volcano. It was not a very big volcano. There were wisps of smoke coming out from the top of it. On the side of the volcano, there was a carving of a big, scary face with one eye in the middle of its forehead. The eye was the biggest emerald that I had ever seen. A special shiny greeny stone, said Professor Steg, with his mouth full of rope. The fat man clambered up the side of the volcano. It is a good thing that Splod himself told us to give you the eye of Splod, said the little thin man, who had narrowly avoided being sacrificed. Because there is another prophecy that says if the eye of Splod is ever removed, great Splod will awaken and spread burning destruction across the land. Here you go, said the fat man. He handed us the emerald. Professor Steg nipped up the rope ladder into the balloon's basket and began to install the emerald in the time machine. Hang on. He was a stegosaurus. Yes. Then how could he just nip up a rope ladder? He was, said my father, a large stegosaurus, but very light on his feet. There are fat people who are excellent dancers. Are there any ponies in this? Asked my sister. I thought there would be ponies by now. I was standing on the ground holding the rope ladder when the ground shook and the very small volcano began to belch smoke and lava. Splod is angry, shouted the little thin man. He wants his eye back. There was a rushing wind and the balloon jerked me up into the air high above the splurting lava. Unfortunately, I dropped the milk. I wasn't holding on to it tightly enough. It landed on the top of Splod's head. Professor Steg hauled the rope ladder up with his tail. I've lost the milk, I told him. That's not good, he admitted. But I know where it is. It's on top of Splod's head, on the side of the volcano. Professor Stegg said, "Good Splod, what on earth is that?" Before our eyes, another balloon just like ours appeared over by the volcano. A man hurried down the rope ladder. He placed a large emerald in Splod's eye, picked up the milk from Splod's head, ran up the ladder, and the balloon vanished. The very small volcano stopped erupting as suddenly as if it had been turned off. "That was a bit peculiar, wasn't it?" said the professor. "It was," I agreed, gloom and despair and despondency overcoming me. That man in that balloon stole my milk. We are lost in the past, with jungles and pirates and volcanoes. Now I will never get home. My children will never have their breakfast. We are doomed to float forever through the dusty air of the past in a hot air balloon." "It is not a balloon," said Professor Stegg. "It is a floaty ball person carrier. What nonsense you do talk. Now, I think that should do the trick." He finished attaching the emerald to the box, using string mostly, and also sticky tape. And he pushed the red button. "Where are we going?" I asked. It seemed like the sun was zooming across the sky, as if the nights were following days in a flickering strobe. "The far, far future," said Professor Stegg. The machine stopped. We were hanging in the air above a grassy plain, with a very small grey mountain beneath us. "There," said Professor Stegg. "It is now an extinct volcano, but look!" On the side of the extinct volcano was carved the face of Splod, still recognisable even though it was much eroded by time and weather, and in the single eye was a huge green emerald, a perfect twin to the one that we had attached to the time machine. "Right," said Professor Stegg. "Grab me that special shiny greeny stone." I went over the side of the basket and down the rope ladder. I pulled the emerald out of the eye socket. Below me, on the plain, a number of brightly coloured ponies were gathered, and when I picked up the emerald, one of them shouted up at me, "You must be the man without the milk. We have heard about you in our tales." "Why are you a pink pony with a pale blue star on the side?" I asked. "I know," said the pony with a sigh. "It's what everybody's wearing these days. Pale blue stars are so last year." Professor Stegg leaned over the side of the balloon basket. "Hurry up," he called. "If the volcano is going to go off, it could do it at any moment." The volcano made a noise like a huge burp, and the middle of it collapsed into itself. "We thought it would do that," said a green pony with a sparkly mane. "There was a prophecy, I suppose?" I said. "No, we're just very clever." All the ponies nodded. They were very clever ponies. "I'm so glad they were ponies," said my sister. I got back into the balloon basket. Professor Stegg unhooked the first emerald from his time machine and replaced it with the one that I had just taken from the weathered face of Splod in the future. "Do not, whatever else you might do," said the professor, "touch those two stones together." "Why not?" "Because, according to my calculations, if the same object from two different times touches itself, one of two things will happen. Either the universe will cease to exist, or 3 remarkable dwarves will dance through the streets with flower pots on their heads." "That sounds astonishingly specific," I said. "I know, but it is science, and it is much more probable that the universe will end." "Thought it would be," I said. "You look so sad," Professor Stegg told me. "I am. It's the milk. My children are breakfastless." "The milk," said Professor Stegg. "Of course." And with that, Professor Stegg pressed the red button with his heavily armoured tail. There was a zoom, a twop, and a fang, and we were hurtling through the cosmic void. And then it was dark. Very dark. "Oops," said Professor Stegg. "Overshot a little. Only by a week, though. Hold on." Professor Stegg leaned over the side of the basket. "Excuse me," he said. "Is there anyone around?" Only me," said a very surprised-sounding voice from below us. "The priest of Splod. Who is that in the sky? Is it a bird? You do not sound like a bird." "I am not a bird," said Professor Stegg. "I am a marvellous yet mysterious and prophetic voice, telling you a mighty prophecy. So mighty that, very mighty indeed. Listen. When a huge and good-looking, spiny-backed individual, monster, I told him. The prophecy said monster. Accompanied by a scrawny human being of revolting appearance, said Professor Tegg. That was not necessary. Lands in a floaty ball person carrier, you must not sacrifice them. You must instead take them to the volcano and give them the eye of Spod. And this shall be the way that they know, and this shall be the way that you shall know them. The human being will hold up some milk. Is that the prophecy? Said the voice. Yes. Is there anything about crops in it? I'm afraid not. Oh well, thanks anyway. Prophetic and mysterious voices from the air. I pressed the red button. Daylight. We were in the middle of a very familiar volcanic eruption. Quickly, I said, give me the emerald. A little way away, I could see a balloon being blown through the sky. While fire and ash were swept around it by the wind. I could see me in the balloon standing next to Professor Stegg, with my mouth open. I looked miserable. Professor Stegg, my Professor Stegg, gave me the emerald. I raced down the rope ladder and placed the emerald back into the face's eye. Then, as the volcano stopped erupting, I looked around for the milk. I knew it had landed on Spod's head when it fell. Fortunately, the milk had fallen into a small drift of volcanic ash and was unharmed. I picked it up, brushed it off, and started back up the balloon's ladder. Professor Stegg pressed the button. The sky went dark. We were floating above a landscape of ominous towers and disquieting castles. It was not a friendly place. Bats flew across the sky in huge flocks, crowding out the waning moon. I don't like this place, I told the professor. I don't see why not, he said. It looks as if it will be very nice when the sun comes up. There was a loud flut, and where the bats had been fluttering, several pallid people were now standing. The man in front had a very bald head. They all had sharp teeth. We are vampires, they said. What is this? Who are you? Answer us or we will vivisect you. Okay. That's as far as we are reading today in our story. We will carry on and find out more about the vampires next week. Now today we had lots going on in this, where we had Professor Stegg and the dad going back and forwards in time and trying to get things from different places. So today we are focusing on some prepositions, which we have done plenty of times over the past few weeks particularly, and we've been doing our online learning, and we've also done it lots and lots whilst at school. So firstly, can you remember what a preposition is? You might be able to come up with a little quick explanation of what a preposition is. Can you refresh your memory? Quickly, what is a preposition? Okay, so prepositions tell us where something is, be it in space, time, or movement. So we are talking about in place at the moment for this. So we're starting off nice and simply. So you've got a picture here of a bedroom. So have a go at describing where everything is. So choose some different items and say where they are. So you've got the phone, which is on charge next to the plug socket. You've got the bed. You could talk about the pillow, the duvet, the tablet or iPad that's on the bed, the lamp in the corner, the red lamp on the desk, the teddy, the light above on the ceiling, the TV, the laptop, the window, the cabinet, the guitar, the hairdryer, or the sofa. You've got loads of different things you could be talking about for this one. You could even talk about the clouds which are on the wall painted on. So have a go. Choose 3 things and have a think about how you can describe where they are in the room. So pause now and have a little go with that. Okay. So let's have a little look. So number 1, down here. So the phone is next to the bed. You could have also put beside the bed or near the bed. There's lots of different ways you could have described that one. You might have described the phone being near something else, not the bed instead. Also would have been fine. Number 2, so the lamp is in front of the window. So the window is in front of, so that would work. You could describe where it is compared to the laptop or the teddy or the bed or anything really. But they've gone for the window. So number 3, the desk is under the window. So the desk is under the window. It could be beneath the window or underneath the window. few different ways you could say that. And the guitar is on the chair, or you could be leaning against the chair because it's leaning against the back of it there. So a few different ways that you could say these things. So now we know what we're doing in terms of a preposition for place. It's nice and straightforward, just saying where something is. Your first little task is to have a go at thinking of lots of different prepositions. So if I'm thinking about, we've just gone through loads for place, saying where something is in a place. So you could have a look around your room, where you are at the moment, and have a look at things and describe where things are. So if you've got a drink sat on the table, you've got on would be one. You could think about, it depends what time of the day it is. You might be doing your online learning after you've had your breakfast or before you have your dinner, something like that. So again, there you've got some different prepositions for time. So I'd like you to have about making a mind map. So on your piece of paper, can you write the word prepositions, draw a circle or a cloud or whatever shape around that? And then around it, can you write even lots of different prepositions that you can think of? It might be useful to, like say, look around to get your ideas. And then we'll have a look at a few and so you can add that to yours after we've done that. Okay, hopefully you've had some time to write down your prepositions. So now, if you haven't already, please pause and do that if you are okay to move on. I will show you lots of different possible ideas that you could write. If you don't have all of these, you might want to write them down. I'll give you a little bit of time once I've revealed them all, where you can edit and add to your own mind map. There you go, so we've got some different time and place there. There you go. So you've got some ones like under or in, so describing the place and where it is, or above, describing where. You've got things like across, so or through, so that tells me how I'm moving through something. So I might be moving across the path or through the doorway. So again, that's a movement. And a time, so it'll be at 6 o'clock or after bedtime, something like that. Pause now and check if you've got all these. Add them to yours if you don't. And then we'll move on. Okay, so in next task, we have got a few different words at the bottom of the page. So what I'd like you to do is either draw two circles like we've got here, so prepositions, not prepositions, or you could write a table, which is prepositions, not prepositions, and just draw a line down the middle. I don't mind how you set this out. And I would like you to go through these words at the bottom and place them, either they are prepositions or they are not. So angry, before lunch, after school, and under, through, beside, decide, and in. So pause now, write your table or your bubbles, and can you place all of those words in the blue box into the appropriate category, please? Okay, once you have done that, I'm going to show you your answers now, so hopefully you've had a chance to do that. If not, please pause quickly so that you don't reveal the answers. Okay, so angry is not a preposition, it is an emotion, it is a feeling. Before lunch, before is a preposition, it tells me when, so it's a preposition of time. After school, again, another one of time, so it's telling you when something's happening. And as we know, is a conjunction. It's used to join two clauses together. Under is a preposition of place, because it's knowing where something is. Through, spelt with O-U-G-H, means to go through something, like we said earlier, through a door, which would be a preposition of movement. Whereas this through will be telling me that you threw a ball or you threw something in the past tense. Next one is beside, so we've talked about this already. So beside is to be next to something or near something, at the side of something. Decide is to make a decision, so to say I'm going to do this. And then finally in, as we know, preposition, because say something is in, so it was in the bag or in the box. Okay, so the next task, you have got 4 sentences here. Can you have a read through these 4 sentences? And can you choose which word is the preposition? Okay, so pause now, write down which word is the preposition, and then we'll look at the answers. Okay, let's have a look at the answers then. So in our first one, we had next to, we had in, on, and beneath. So hopefully you got those correct. You could identify those. Okay, so for our next one, you have got a few sentences where you need to complete the sentence. So the girl held her arms. Now we need a preposition for place. So where is she holding her arms compared to her head? Go and sit something, stand. So you might be told to go and sit down. And where are you compared to Stan? Have a look at that picture. Joe was something, the bath. So where was he in relation to the bath? And they hid something the table. So have a look at where they are compared to that table. And it's going to be happening at the same time as an earthquake. So when the earthquake is happening, that's what they are doing. They're hiding in relation to that table. So you've got one for space and for time during in that last one. So it's covering both. Okay, let's have a look if you've got these correct then. So she's holding them above her head. He's been told to go and sit next to Sam. Joe was in the bath, and they hid under the table during the earthquake. So as the earthquake was happening, that's where they were. Okay, so for the next few slides, you're going to have a picture, and we're going to have a spinner. So I'm going to spin the spinner. Whatever lands here, where the arrow is pointing at, is the preposition we are going to be using. So I will spin it. We'll see if it's an appropriate one. If it's not, we'll spin again. If it seems okay, then we'll use that one. So if we have a look, you've got your market there. So let's have a spin. It's through. So my example could be the family walked through the market. So we're going to walk down the middle through the market. So what could you do using the word through to write about that picture? Try and use a different sentence to what I've said, so it's not too straightforward. And then we'll have a look at the next picture. Okay. So again, once you've done our spinner, please pause so that you have time to write down your sentence. So let's have a look. Spin our spinner. I don't think inside really works. Let's spin again. There we go. So let's have a look. We've got people. We've got a group of people. We've got the path. We've got the cliff. We've got the ocean or the sea. You can see lots of rocks. There's lots of plants and flowers and things. So can you write a sentence which uses the word along in your sentence, please? Okay, so this next bit, you are going to be the preposition police. So I'm going to read the passage out to you. Your task is to find all of the prepositions that you can in this paragraph and write them down either on your whiteboard or on whatever you're using at home, pencil, paper, it's fine, whatever you're using to write down. So I'll read the paragraph and then you need to pause so that you have some time to check you've not missed anything, so you've got some time to read through it again and write down all those prepositions. George took his dog Sally for a walk along the canal. Sally waited beside the road. They walked across the road. Together they went through a tunnel and over a stile. George threw Sally's ball toward the tall grass, and it landed in the river. Sally swam through the water and dived underneath the surface to get the ball. She ran back to George and dropped the ball in front of him for another turn. She dropped it from her mouth when she returned next to him. After sunset, they went home and snuggled on the couch beneath a cozy blanket. Okay, so your job now, please pause, write down all of those different prepositions. Okay, let's have a look at your answers then. So see if you've found all of these. So those are all the ones. So pause again, check if you've got them all. If not, see which ones you've missed. Okay. So your next task is, could you change any of these prepositions? Could you think of a preposition that has a similar meaning that you could change to also make sense? So my example might be, Sally waited next to the road. So instead of beside, she's waiting next to the road. So have a go at rewriting this. So you could write the full paragraph out and change those words, or you could just write an alternate preposition next to the words that you've just written down. Okay, so finally, it is your turn, your final task. So look at the pictures below, and can you write a sentence to go with each picture using a different preposition each time? So you might describe what the girl is doing, you might describe where the ball is in each of them. It's up to you. So can you write me some sentences describing these pictures, please? So pause here so you can get your first bit of your task done. And that's that. Okay, so that is the end of our English lesson for today. I hope you've had fun sorting out some prepositions and practicing that skill, which I know we found is quite simple, quite straightforward, quite easy. Hopefully we can have a nice wide range of these in our writing when we come to do some writing back at school. So I will see you on Thursday for another practice lesson, another skills-based lesson. And next week we will look at our next part of the story. See you later.